All right, we are back. Officer Cato. It's been a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to finish that second half.
We do.
So,
We do. How's your last couple weeks been?
hasn't been too bad between the weather and the tornado drills and tornado real warnings. No, everything's been moving pretty well.
Yeah? Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Anything new and exciting? You were under the weather last week.
I was.
I was under the weather this week. That's why it
You
might
were.
sound a little odd, but
So
that's kind of delayed things a little bit.
maybe we get this weather out of here, get this South Carolina weather back in here, and maybe
teased
the
us.
sickness will be gone.
I know. It teased us. It was like upper 80s yesterday, and then now we have a tornado. It's supposed to be like 60s tomorrow. and
Now, I
then
think we got
who
another
knows?
cold snap next week, maybe first of the week through Wednesday, and then maybe we'll get rid of it after that.
Maybe. I'm going to be back in Indianapolis next weekend.
Oh, Lord, this could still be cold up there.
Probably will. Might get stuck in some snow again. Okay. So, last time we're in puzzle pieces. That's the name of the chapter. There was so much going on that we had to break it up.
Yes.
We had to break it up. And it was, gosh, it was so much. I mean, it was everything from learning what a gopher is,
Yes.
translating what a gopher is, to really the issues with Delta Force, not issues with Delta Force, but the incident with Delta and them coming in and just some of the ways that operated. And then we ended sort of talking about the relationship with the kids.
Yes.
And how valuable that was and is. And that's something that's just a part of who you are that I've seen firsthand just here at the school. Not just in terms of gathering intel. Like, you don't use the kids.
No.
It's genuine.
No, it is. And
But it creates trust.
it does create trust. And I'll tell you, when it comes to intelligence, in a military operation or an operation like you're dealing with in Iran right now, information they're getting from the ground, human intelligence is going to be your number one source. You know, you got satellites, and you got this, and you got that, and you can listen to phones, you can listen to this, but you're going to pick things up from people just talking to you that you're not going to get anywhere else. So you have to pay attention. You have to listen when people talk to you. And these kids were a prime example of that over there, because they would tell us everything that was going on. You know, we had befriended them. We weren't really using them. We were just bringing them. I knew some of these kids were living on the street. They were orphans, right? Not knowing where to get the next meal from, this or whatever the case may be. So we bringing them in little trinkets, soccer balls, frisbees, whatever the case may be. They it made them feel better. They give them a little bit of, a little hope of something. Anything over there was a little bit of hope for them. But they would come and they would talk to us, and every day they would tell us something different. We'd listen to them. And not everything they said was useful, but on this particular day, it turned out to be very useful.
Yeah. And we kind of jumped to the story of the AK-47 last time. We did talk about that. We kind of skipped over the incident with the kids and the intel that they provided that day. So we're going to kind of come back to that one a little bit. So you said that kids came up and they said, big people coming today.
Kid came by. I was standing at the back gate. Nobody was working that day. Everything was it was downtime. It was a down day. And I don't know if it was a religious holiday or if it was, a religious day or a holiday, or a Saturday. For whatever particular reason, nobody was working that day. I can't remember the exact date. But I was at the back gate and one of the kids came by.
It was September, though.
It was.
You did point that out.
It was September. One of the kids came by, and I know he was looking to see if I had anything, and I had nothing. But he came by, and he acknowledged me, and he's, Quito, and he goes, big people come today. And I said, big people? He said, big people. And he opened his arms up like that. And I was like, okay. And he went on about his business, and I stood there and thought about it a minute, and I was like, this guy's telling me that a lot of people are coming to this gate today as if it's going to be a protest. And protests had become pretty popular over there because our government had told these people, basically, we want you to get out and protest. We want to show you what freedom looks like.
Yeah.
I wasn't real sure how much I agreed with that and how it was working, but it started to kind of roll in my head a little bit. I was thinking, something's coming. Somebody must know. So there was an Army checkpoint very close to me, and I walked down and I talked to them. And I said, hey, have you heard anything about a protest today? And they said, no protest. It's just going to be a quiet day. Okay. I said, well, and I told them what the kid said. And, of course, they blew me off, which I don't blame them. I probably would have done the same. And I went back into the compound, and I started talking to Denny, and I was like, Denny, this kid, I said, I got a feeling we might have a protest today. And told him what he said, and Denny said, yeah, that's what it sounds like. So we didn't throw caution to the wind. We said, hey, let's, just in case, let's kind of get ready for it, right? So we did a soft lockdown, like just making sure our guards knew. We think something, and at the same time, we were calling back to the palace, to our people, going, hey, have you heard anything about, to our intelligence section, you heard anything about a protest today? They're like, no.
Really?
No, everything's quiet today. Everything's going to be quiet. And we're like, okay, but Denny and I had this feeling. And one thing that you learn over there is when you got a feeling, you just stick with it. Nothing happens, better safe than sorry, right? Well, an hour later, there was like 36,000 people coming across the bridge and standing right at our back gate. So here the Army's pulling all their gear down. They're caught by surprise. Everybody's caught by surprise. We weren't. All because of this kid.
That's so many people.
Yes.
To have nobody known.
Nobody know. You know? Where were they gathering? Did they all, was this, there's no way.
How were they communicating?
The word wasn't out. Right. Correct. So it was missed. I don't know where it was missed, but it was missed. And then the next thing you know, here we go. We got our gates locked down. And when that happens, the way we sat, instead of putting our men right up next to the gate, we pull them back.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to break through, we need time to react to that. And you're not going to have that kind of time if they're already on top of you. So we'd pull our guys back and set a position up.
Plus, does the gate not present sort of a choke point?
It does.
Okay.
A big time choke point. I mean, you're going to be
right.
You're going to be caught in imagine a standard roadway.
Yeah.
With walls on each side. That's what you're caught in.
So there are a lot of tactical benefits to pulling back.
We call that a fatal funnel of fire.
You almost want them to go through the gate instead of over a wall.
Don't come over the wall.
Right.
Come down the middle.
We'll unlock it for you just to make it easier.
We're set up for that. We're ready for that. And, of course, now the Army's always ready for any contingency. I wish they'd have took what we told them a little more serious that day. They would have been a little more on top of it. But, when that group showed up, their intention was not to storm the green zone. But when 30-something thousand people are coming at you, it's certainly what it looks like.
Yeah. Is that one of the bigger protests?
That was the biggest one I saw on my side. There was other parts of green zone where protests would show up. I worried about my intersection, my thing right there at the back of the government. That was the biggest one I saw. There were other protests all over the country, too, now, down in Basra and in different places. Mosul, there was protests everywhere. But you normally knew when they were coming. This one caught everybody by surprise. So just kind of came out of nowhere. So, of course, Denny and I, once we get them set up, we back up and go to, of course, our rooftop because we can observe everything. So pretty much to the south is Baghdad. To the east is the palace and the green zone. So we could see everything that's going on at the same time. We can see Army movements. We can see everything that's happening. Gives us an idea, more so what's happening instead of somebody trying to tell us what's going on.
Yeah.
Because communication is not always, we're not getting the best communication. A lot of our communication is by phone. And we're dealing with somebody that's inside a building going, yeah, this is what's happening right now.
And these are the same people who said nothing was going to happen.
Correct.
10 minutes earlier.
So their word is not exactly what we call 100% to begin with. So we'd rather trust what we could see with our own eyes than what we're hearing with our ears. And so that's why we would set ourselves up. It was a great vantage point for protection as well, right? So remember, once again, I had two Gurkhas up there with M60 machine guns too. So we had a good vantage point of where we were sitting, so we could see everything that was going on. And the protest, it raged on for a little while. And then things started to happen. Things got a little bit hairy. We have a free market there where you could walk in the green zone down by the palace. An outside market. I think I've talked about it before. You can walk up and down through there and you can pick things up. And then, of course, there's the Green Zone Cafe. Well, during this protest, somehow inside the Green Zone, 2 bombers got in. And they were it was on their person. So it went into this air market, boom, pulled it and blew. Right behind it, boom, guy inside the Green Zone, pulled it and blew. Inside the Green Zone Cafe. So we could immediately tell that there had been 2 explosions. We knew one was back toward the palace because this market's right across the street. And the other one we knew from where the smoke was that had to be inside that Green Zone Cafe. Our thing was, how did us not knowing that it was humans that had walked in, was this car? Had this been sat there? How did it get in? All these questions start to go through your head. And back when I told you about them getting Semtex or explosives in their sleeves, if you do that over time, it doesn't take long if you can just get a little bit in at a time. Would that be hard to do? No.
Is that what happened?
We don't know. I don't think we'll ever know.
So it was nobody like storming in?
No. These were already on the inside.
Really?
Now, was it part of the protest? I don't know.
Like, was it coordinated with the protest, or was it somebody saw the opportunity and kind of was like, "Hey, now seems like a good time."
So, but it made it seem that way. So these protesters, very loud yet peaceful. I mean, they're not rioting but when these explosions go off, it changes the dynamic of everything. What is that? What is that? What's that signaling? Is that signaling something else? Is something fixing to come from this protest now? Or, what's going to happen? And, of course, we've been looking with binoculars, looking for weapons in this crowd, AK-47s, whatever the case. The unusual thing is we don't see any.
That was unusual for the protests?
Yeah, people over there carried AK-47s everywhere. And now we see no weapons. And then these 2 explosions happen. So there was just a lot of... That's
got to be bizarre.
It was very bizarre. It was very bizarre.
This out here, no weapons. All of a sudden, stuff's in, and like you said, are these? They're related, but are they coordinated? Is it? That's just got to be really spooky, almost, to not see any weapons on anybody.
And at the end of it, was it related? We still don't know
if it was a pure coincidence.
If it was or not, And the reason I say that is this. This is around lunchtime. Mm-hmm. The market, the open air market, and the Green Zone Cafe at lunchtime would have a decent, not a big amount of people, but the open air market would have a decent amount of people. The Green Zone Cafe had more people at dinner time than it did, say, lunchtime. I consider dinner time later in the evening. But because of the protest and the Army's response to the Green Zone gates, all the civilians within the Green Zone have been pulled back to protection. There's a protest at the gates. It's 30,000 people. How about, just in case, everybody come back? So they kind of been pulled back in. So the Green Zone Cafe had a very scant few people in it.
And if it was a suicide bomb, the person could look around and see, hey, there's not a lot of people here.
Correct. So they'd walk in, they detonate this thing. They do kill a few people. They killed a few people at the open air market. But they didn't do the damage that could have been done with better surveillance.
Does that make you think that it's more or less likely that it was coordinated with the protest?
I think it was less likely coordinated with the protest.
See, I would have thought, me and my expert opinion, I would have thought it meant more, that it's sort of like, all right, well, there's not a lot of people here, but now's the time, so I got to do it.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean,
Gosh,
and you could be right.
I'm probably not.
No one ever told us what it was.
Dude, you can't ask the guy.
And then, so you get these 2 big explosions. It's not mortars and rockets. You know the difference between the explosions. You know it's not a car bomb because it's not big enough, but it's big enough. It's done some damage. And, and Denny and I, of course, we would like to go help.
Sure.
This is inside the green zone. This is, we got buddies over there too in different places, but, we still got this compound and we still got 30-something thousand people standing, 600 yards away from us. We can't move. So we're not getting any information about what's happening behind us and to the east of us. We know what's going on to the front of us. No one's going to call us and tell us what's happening back there with all the chaos going on.
Oh, my gosh.
So we've just got to kind of ride this one out, ride it out and wait. And the protest ended up breaking apart mainly because it was so hot. They didn't have any water. They just turned around and finally and as quick as they came, they were gone. And then Denny and I were able to, once we know our gates were secure and everything was good, and no one harmed anything, no one tried to push a gate down, no one tried to do anything.
No one ever brandished a weapon.
Nothing. And then they were gone. They just left back across the bridge. Gosh. And I mean, 30,000 people dissipated quicker than they showed up. It was kind of amazing. We watched them come. They had flags, they had everything. We watched them coming. I'm like, well, here they come. And they came and they stayed. And when it was over, they would go. Just go. It was bizarre. And so Danny and I went down and we got in the car. We rolled out into the green zone and it was a mess. The Green Zone Cafe was completely destroyed. Never rebuilt from that point that I knew. No one was ever going to go back to the open air market again. So it was just, and it was a kind of a shocker and maybe a pride hit to the Army that had gotten on the inside through their checkpoints. They could have easily brought that back on us.
The Army?
Yeah. They could have said, what about these guys? They got a red zone gate and a green zone gate, and the only ones that control it are them. Army doesn't. Did it come through us? I'd like to think not. I'd like to think that our security was good enough to keep that out. And we only let the people in the green zone that should have got into the green zone. But I can't 100% say that.
This sounds bad, but were they able to identify the suicide bombers themselves to find out did they work in the green zone? Were they?
Now this is knowledge I don't have, but I know the Army would come around and collect body parts, and they would do the DNA on them. At least try to get what country they were from, right? We need to know who was infiltrating, so on and so forth. Whether they had a DNA registry of people that were working within the green zone, and they might have, but I doubt it. Highly doubt it. You can narrow some of these things down too, like who doesn't come back to work tomorrow. Johnny didn't come back today. Well, that's because he blew himself up at the Green Zone Cafe. I don't know. You can narrow these down, but if it was guys that did work on the inside, yeah, I mean some of those guys would come through another gate that we controlled that went into the Al Rashid Hotel and the convention center. So some of those, not all those gates were Army controlled. The main major thoroughways were, but some of them were run by us.
In your opinion, just your opinion, what do you think happened? Do you think it was people accumulating the little bit of Simtex? Do you think it was through a different gate? Do you think it had anything to do with maybe not coordinated with, but sort of like hey, this is a good distraction for us to go, or was it pure coincidence? Just completely your opinion. Was it somebody who worked there, who knew the area, who knew where the market was, who knew where the cafe was?
In my opinion, I believe that it was brought in a little bit at a time. I think it would be very hard to get that amount through a front gate or any gate for that matter, especially with the amount of searches you had to go through, with the animals we had on scene to sniff that out and smell it through too. But not impossible. But I believe it would have had to be been brought in a little bit at a time. I certainly think they knew the targets they were after.
Okay.
because those were two of the most populated, or would have been the most populated. I don't think it had anything to do with the protest. The protest itself. Now, these guys might have heard of a protest and have been waiting on an opportunity. And this might have been the distraction that said, hey, this is going to be a good time to do it. But I don't think the protest was the leader behind this bombing.
You think the protest was the opportunity, but it wasn't coordinated with it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But it really
Because
could
the odds
have
of it
been.
happening totally randomly and happened to be at the same time just seems kind of.
But if you're bringing in just a little bit at a time and you finally got yourself a bomb, they would have been planning this long before a protest was ever even thought
that's
about
true.
or being organized, right?
Yeah,
So I go back to
that's true.
that end of it too. Now, could they have gotten a block of something in that day? Maybe.
Just unlikely.
Just unlikely. I know that day didn't come through my gate because we were closed. So I'll just say that up front. But, listen, that's a lot of people you're dealing with. That's a moving machine that never quits over there. And you're just operating and you're trying to let Iraq have a country. At the same time, you're trying to slow them down from having a country. You want them to operate and do what they got to do on a daily basis. At the same time, you got to back them off and, hey, I got to make sure you're not bringing this in or bringing that in, or so on and so forth. And it's, some of our ministers, okay, that came through our gate, the government officials who had bodyguards that traveled with them, when they came through, we didn't search them. It came a point where, hey, if you're going to blow your own government up, then what am I even doing here? Right?
Really?
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're here to help put a government together, after a while, I've got to start to trust you. That's what you're here to do.
And there were some radically different ideologies within those ministers.
Certainly was. So,
do you think that?
I don't know. So their guards would come through with them, so on and so forth. Now, their guards had to unload everything, get out of the car, open trunks, put all their weapons away. They usually weren't in a car with them. They would be either behind them or whatever the case may be. So we wouldn't let them be armed on the compound at all. But, they came with their ministers. They weren't really searched or they were trusted. So I had to trust the fact that if you're here to make the government go, if you're going to come in and blow the government up, then, we're defeating the purpose before I even start.
Right.
So I got to give you some latitude. I got to show you I trust you. You need to show me, right? Let's have mutual trust here. And I would like to think that worked, that it wasn't them, because they went in and out of Green Zone Gate too, a lot of times. So you don't know. You just don't know.
Somebody brought it in.
Possibly. Yeah, well, somebody brought it in.
Brought it in.
It's just a matter of who. Just a matter of who.
Well, and you mentioned that and this was kind of fascinating, that the U.S., we encourage the protests. Be active in your government. But you also mentioned in the book that the people were kind of like waiting around for these elections that were supposed to make everything better. And so it's like, okay, it's not happening. It's not happening. But at the same time, they're telling us to go protest. So now we're getting restless. We're almost being encouraged to be restless.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're protesting. And they're protesting for the right reasons.
Sure.
We don't have any jobs. We don't have any food. We're running out of water. We have no infrastructure.
And they're told the elections are going to solve all of this.
It's coming. It's coming. Why do fat rats sit behind the wall and eat, right?
Yeah.
So I get it. Every day I looked at it from their point of view and said, I get it. Sorry, I'm on this side of the wall. This is the side of the wall I got to protect. But I understood it, and I didn't mind them protesting. That didn't bother me in the least. As long as they stayed peaceful and did what they did, that's fine. Now, I don't think a lot of people understand what it feels like to be standing right down in front of a 30,000 person protest. It's pretty damn loud. it remind you of being on a football field at Carolina Stadium when they're at their max. They were pretty loud. So that sound coming from them standing there, it could be a little overwhelming. You know. So backing up away from that and getting set to see what might happen next. Because number one, I don't even know what they're saying.
Right.
I got my translator and I'm going, what are they? And he's trying to rattle off everything that's going on. Keto, they mad about this. Keto, they mad about I get that. What are they saying?
Right.
You know, I understand.
Like how mad? On a scale from 1 to 10.
Are they mad enough they're about to come through here and try to kill us? That's what I need to know. So what are they saying? And, you know, and sometimes it was down with America. Y'all need to get out of here. Let us have our own life, blah, 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 things like that. Things that you and I would say if the coin was flipped.
Sure.
Right? So, you know, once again, I didn't take any of that personally. Any of that bothered me. Understood what they were doing. Their country. And, you know, I'm just part of it.
Yeah.
That's it.
You said that one thing that was strange was that they didn't have weapons. And you said normally they did.
Yeah.
Did they ever have, like, were they threatening with those weapons? Or was it just kind of like, we're carrying weapons?
I don't think I ever had anybody stand outside my back gate and fire a weapon straight up in the air.
But it was never like they didn't show up with weapons to have an armed conflict with you. It was sort of like
no, everybody
they
kind of had weapons,
cause.
right? It was not unusual to look out there and see people walking around with AK-47. I mean, that was just part of the country. Everybody had a weapon. Everybody had a weapon. So you know, that's like when the soccer team won, everybody shooting straight up. Everybody in the green zone, outside the green zone, had a weapon.
I am still blown away by that because you see in the news and movies people firing guns in the air, and I've always just kind of assumed, I don't know what I assumed, that they just the bullets just disappeared in the air. The fact that people get killed from that is crazy, but makes perfect sense.
It does make perfect sense, and I think, you know, I'd seen that on TV, probably going over there, people shooting. And videos, especially Saudi Arabia, that whole side of the world, they just do it. And
even in old westerns, like old American westerns.
Yeah. And you don't think anything about it. I don't think anything about it.
Yeah.
Till I saw it. I was like, whoa, this is not going to be good. Because it wasn't like it was the western, pow, 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 and they ride off. This was thousands going into the air. And you could see them.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, this is not going to be good because I don't know where it's coming down, right? So if everybody around the green zone is firing even in a little bit, all of that got to come down in there somewhere.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you know who else had an AK-47?
Did you have an AK?
No, I didn't have an AK-47. A guy who worked with Dennis.
Yes.
So we talked about that. We did talk about this last time.
Yeah.
When he got in trouble, he took it.
Yes.
This is a gift from the South Africans, was it?
Yeah.
Hey, you want this? We got an extra one laying around.
Yeah.
Everybody else has them. You just said so. So you want one? And he's like, yeah. Wrong answer.
Yeah.
He got in trouble. You got in trouble. Dennis got in trouble.
Yes.
Everyone got in trouble.
Everybody got in trouble. Everybody got in some kind of trouble.
Some kind of trouble. And so this is where I said we're going to kind of jump back and forth because last time we naturally just kind of went into the story of the AK-47 and him getting in trouble. In the book, we talk a little bit about Catfish and that, and then it goes into what happened with the protest, and then it kind of comes back. So we're kind of skipping around. Because you said that Dennis called you. This is after the protest. You said Dennis called me a few days later in a panic, and that's why, was because of that. So then, as we talked about, I
went up there and retrieved a weapon.
You went up there and retrieved a weapon.
Yeah, took my chewing from the major up there, and took the weapon back and assured him it wouldn't happen again, and tried to, you know, fix all those hooks there at one time, to ensure that, you know, with my guys that they didn't do that again, and ensure with his guys that, hey man, if they offer it, just tell them no.
Just tell them no.
Just tell them no. You know, pretty simple.
And then coming out of that, like literally coming out of that, you said that you left and you thought Dennis and his crew might be flying back down the next day. I mean, this was right after that. We get into a story that Dennis himself told when he was here several episodes ago that was mind-blowing about
the Abu Ghraib prison.
Yeah, you went to get the ass chewing. Then you said, I thought he might be flying back down the next day, but he's like, sorry, I can't.
Yeah, because helo's down, right?
Yeah.
And so as he talked about when he was here with Abu Ghraib prison, they had landed there to either drop off contractors working in the prison, CIA, whoever the case may be. And while he was standing outside the helicopter, which you can't hear with all your gear on, your helmets.
And the rotors.
And the rotors, behind him, mortars start falling. Because what's happened is the enemy sees the helicopters come in and land. They just start dropping rounds toward them, hoping to hit one, see if they can. And I guess they snatched on Dennis's wire and said, get back here. Look, everything's... He turns around, he can see the things that are blowing up. And then he gets back and jumps inside the helicopter as one was hitting. And I don't know how it didn't get him from the way you could see where the shrapnel started at the first of the helicopter, went up and over the seat where he would be sitting and back down the end of the helicopter. So he was a lucky man that day. As he had said when he was here before, I don't think he realized how lucky he was till I saw the damage on the helicopter, right? Because I was like, dude, how did you not get hit? I don't even think he even thought about it till I sat and described it to him. I said, look where the shrapnel's going. It went right over the top of it. It just went right over the top of it.
And he took you into the hangar to show you this. This is, you were there for the ass chewing.
Yes.
And so you went from the ass chewing to look at your helicopter.
Yeah.
And the shrapnel going up around the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That was a weird day.
It was a weird day.
It was a lot of weird days.
But you said, and to be, I mean, obviously this is serious. You said that my mind suddenly went back to the day that I promised his son nothing would happen to his father when he was away in Iraq.
Right. And here's what happens is Dennis gets over there, he flies. And you start thinking, well, he's okay. I mean, he's up there in the air. They're doing it right. They know how to fly through these cities, staying low. When you're that low in the city and you're on the ground and you hear a helicopter coming, you have no idea where this thing's coming from until it zoom, it's gone. So I felt he was relatively safe. I really did. And him coming over there and working in that environment, and I thought he's going to be fine, life's going to be good, blah, 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 until I saw that. And I was like, oh, man, he's in it. He's in it. So it could happen. And it did take me back to the day that I talked to his son. I said, nothing's going to happen to you, Dad. Everything will be fine. But that's not the case. It still could have happened.
It could. Hey, but you weren't wrong, thankfully.
No, I wasn't wrong. But, you think about that, and people die every day in training, getting ready to go to combat, right?
Really?
Yeah, people die all the time. There's always helicopter crashes and incidents and this
true.
and that. A lot of people don't know how many motor vehicle incidents like Humvees having accidents in training that end up killing people that are in the vehicles. It's a lot of strange things happen. A lot of strange things happen in training. And, so these guys that train for war, the training that they do is real-time stuff.
You can't train easy.
No.
To go.
No.
Because that doesn't prepare you.
They're doing real-time stuff. They're fast roping out of helicopters. They're rappelling out of helicopters. They're doing crazy stuff on boats. They're jumping out of airplanes. They're doing this. And that fails sometimes.
Well, and a lot of the mistakes that get made are more likely to happen the first time or two you do it than by the time you are in combat and you've done it 100, 200 times.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about it like that.
So, there's guys that die in training every day, guys and girls, preparing to go to combat one day. And it's just, So promising that kid his dad wouldn't die in combat certainly didn't mean that flying home over Kuwait, going back to get the bird set to fly, he could have crashed there. I mean, you know, anything could have happened. Anything could have happened.
And you're just wondering if you overpromised.
Yeah, well, that was an overpromise. I knew it was an overpromise when I promised it. But
You did say that.
But you know, it's what else you gonna say to an 8-year-old kid?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. Maybe you will.
Right, that's worse.
You just can't throw it out there and then live with it. Right? That's all you could do at that point. And I'd never been asked that by, you know, even my own kids never asked me that. And I think because my kids were born while I was in the Marines. Where Dennis was in reserve. So he'd go for 2 weeks, whatever the case, come back. His kids probably didn't, it was every day of my kid's life was the military. They saw daddy's leaving and going, mama's leaving and going, being gone, not coming back for a while. They kind of understood all that. There was no question. The question was, when are you going? Not when are you coming back?
Ooh.
When's the next time you're leaving? So it and then in his world, now, you know, daddy who did 2 weeks here, 2 weeks there, he's being snatched up and he's going to be gone. And all I'm seeing on TV is this war. My daddy's going way over there to this war. My kids never saw a lot of that on TV. You know, they didn't pay attention to that because their life was already wrapped around it.
It was just
Another day for them. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, for our viewers, do any pictures exist of that helicopter with the shrapnel going up around the door?
I don't know. It may very well. They may very well.
I mean, I would assume Dennis, if they did, Dennis would probably.
Well, they would take pictures of the damage. Yeah. The damage would be photographed by the Army, you know, more so for historical purposes or whatever the case may be, repairs and everything else that had to be done. So I'm sure there's pictures somewhere.
If we can get our hands on that.
We may be able to get our hands on it.
That would be.
We'll check it out.
That would be incredible.
To see if we can. People pop pictures to me all the time that I go, when?
Yeah, I know.
When did you take that? When did you send that? Yeah, that one's one. But they send me stuff. I get stuff now I see from when I was in the Marines doing all that Raider stuff with the rubber boats. I'm like, when did y'all take that picture? I never remember that picture ever being taken. And now I realize how long ago that was. Because the quality of the photograph, not even close to what comes out today, you know? So I look at it and they go, yeah, that's you standing by the boat. I'm like, that's not me. You know, blow it up. I'm like, yeah, it is me. So, yeah.
So and I know we're keeping this secret. We talked about this last time. Was this when you were doing security or is this before security?
Oh, no, that's still to come.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we still get to talk about that.
Oh.
Yeah, that's still.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah, these last few chapters get ramped up pretty.
How do they get more ramped up than this?
They get more ramped up. Trust me.
So the next, I mean, we're 40 minutes in. So the next one, we're gonna get Denny.
We're gonna get Denny, and I think what we'll do instead of doing a chapter.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask.
I think what we'll do is I'll get hold of Denny and talk to Denny and go, hey, you know, what I'd like Denny to do is just maybe talk about just what it was like for him from his side, being over there from a different country, a different aspect, a different set of eyes. Right? A different mentality, right? His wasn't an American thinking.
I'd love to hear his initial thoughts when he first met you.
Well, we'll get into that. And then I'm sure there's a couple of stories that Denny and I'll talk about that you know, Denny had some hilarious times over there. We had some strange times too, some kind of spiritual moments at times.
Oh, yeah, he said
we'd look at each other like, wow, that's different. That shouldn't have happened. How'd this happen? How'd that happen? You know, we had some funny things over there that went down and maybe we'll talk about. But I think you get a different perspective from Denny's side, how he saw things. You're always going to get that American Marine side of me. It's always going to come
You don't
forward.
say.
Yeah, it's just always going to come forward.
For 12 years.
And it's I'm going to look at everything through that lens. And I think
It's the only lens you got.
it's the only lens I got. And then I think Denny brings a different picture to that. Okay. And mine was confined. His was more worldly. From an aspect of, he did his time in the British Royal Marines and he got out and then he's all over the world, right? Running all over the place, doing different things.
Really?
Yeah. Danny was a wild man. Spent a lot of time down in Australia, out with the Aborigine. And
What?
oh, yeah, I'm telling you, want to talk about a spiritual dude, you talk about earth, wind, and fire, this is the guy right here.
Was he doing military stuff around the world or just...
No, he was doing
He
Denny.
got out of the British Royal Marines
He
and
was just doing Denny.
floated?
Yeah.
Not working?
No, he was doing different things, but he was experiencing life from a whole different level. Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you.
I feel like we're not fitting this into one episode. We're gonna need multiple.
He's a different dude, man. He's great though. He is, and I think you'll see that. He's very down to earth, very descriptive, and he's fun. He's a lot of fun.
Will we understand him with his accent?
You will understand him with the accent, yeah. And Denny doesn't have that black flowing hair anymore, but he's still a pretty good looking dude. So we may pick up some female viewers here. I don't know.
Hey,
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Some more.
Okay, I mean,
Some more female viewers.
that's good. I'm excited. We're all set up. That's going to be good. I do think it'll probably end up taking 2 episodes.
It might.
There's just no way we're going to cram everything from his first introduction to you to before he met you and all of his travels throughout the world, and then his side of some of these same stories. There's no way we're fitting that into like an hour.
No, we probably won't. And also, where you and I don't have to do a lot of editing, we may have to do some with him. I don't know.
No, we.
So it'll be fun. So I'm gonna set up this week, talk to Denny and see if we can't come up with a good time frame.
Okay.
And maybe all of us can marry it down.
And is he in Scotland right now?
He's in the UK.
He's in the UK?
Yeah. So he's not in Scotland at the moment. Matter of fact, his wife just did an art show, I think, in London. She's an artist. She's
My gosh.
yeah. So
get her some publicity, some shout outs.
it does surprise me that's who he ended up with. I mean, because he's kind of that mindset, right? That artist free type person. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
You're gonna enjoy it. You will. So
I am so excited. And then we've got, so after that, you asked me earlier how much is left. We've got, after our 1 or 2 episodes with Denny, we've got Whose God Is It? Then we have Turbulent New Beginning. And then The Great Unknown. And that might be the last one.
That's it. Yeah, that's the last chapter. So we got 3 chapters left.
Then we're going to do our kind of celebratory, we made it through the book. That's an off-site location.
Location.
We'll say off-site location.
We will, yeah.
And then, we'll see what we can do over the summer, but certainly later in the summer, we'll get into what this was intended to be.
Sure.
And we've said this so many times. This was never meant to be about the book.
No,
when
it
we
really
first
wasn't.
talked about it, it was like we talked about doing this podcast that you want to do to talk about the Bill of Rights that were important to you.
Yes. And that's still where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how we ended up on the book.
We were talking, and I remember exactly. We were in the media center, and we were talking about it, and you just kind of were like, "Oh yeah," because I have this book, and I was like, "Wait a minute, what? You have a book?" And I pulled it up on. Like we were sitting there this far apart. I pulled it up on Amazon, bought it right then and there. And we went into the first episode and we were like, no, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this.
Well, and this will be a good walk in to the, this will always be something you can come back to when you're talking about the Bill of Rights.
Absolutely.
Marrying it back to what they did not have while they were trying to tie things in, what they ended up with, and it'll roll good. It'll be interesting, I think, especially if we get students involved.
Yeah,
it'll be be pretty interesting. So as we move forward, you know, you need to stick with us. If you're watching it on YouTube, you need to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, keep us moving forward.
You do, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, next time you see us, there might be a third.
Next time you see us, Denny will be with us.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I know this was a little bit shorter. It was still 45 minutes. It was still shorter. We just needed to cover the second part of that chapter. It was too good and too much was happening. And then we needed to give Denny
We'll get him
his own time.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it. This will be fun.
It will.
It will be.
All right. See you next time.